Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. I've been away for a while, but I'm happy to be back. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about AI agents. I'm sure that there are several instances or occasions in your business or your personal life where you have felt overwhelmed and you needed extra hands to help you with the tedious task in your business. It could be somebody or something that would take the load of you in your business in things like handling email sorting, scheduling meetings, generating reports, chasing down invoices, and so many other things that you would have preferred to have someone else do. Well, I have good news for you, and it's called AI agents. They promise to be your tireless assistant in your business. Think of them like your digital teammates that handle your busy work autonomously, meaning that they can operate, they can make decisions, they can take action with little to no human intervention to help you achieve your goal and make you work smarter. In this video, I'm going to be demystifying AI agents. I'm going to be talking about what they are, how they work, and why they're such a game changer for any business today. It doesn't matter whether you are a small, medium, or large enterprise. At the end of the video, you would have a clearer understanding of why you should be integrating AI agents into your business. Let's dive in. What are agents and how are they different from ChatGPT or your usual LLMs? Agents are systems that independently accomplish goals on your behalf. They take information from you just like you would give to ChatGPT and then decide what actions to take to accomplish your objective. They don't wait for you to prompt them every step of the way. They have the ability to plan, they have the ability to act or decide on what steps to take to accomplish an objective autonomously. How are they different from tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and all the other LLMs that we are used to? The key is in the workflow. Traditional large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity are very good. In fact, they are fantastic at generating text and answering questions. But they operate in a one-shot prompt by prompt fashion where you give them a command or ask them a question and they give you a response. That's it. One question in and answer out. So in essence, Gen AI focuses on creating content when prompted by humans, whereas agentic AI focuses on achieving an objective with little to no human input. ChatGPT or Claude will gladly write you an email, but a true agent will know when you have an overdue email. It will decide and can decide to draft you an email and also send the email. I hope that makes sense. Now that we know what an AI agent is, let's discuss how they work. And in order for you to understand how AI agents work, let's look at their anatomy or the basic components that make up an AI agent. So, according to OpenAI, an agent system is made up of several core components. Think of these components as the different pieces you have to bring together or assemble to make a functioning agent. Each of these components have a role that together they make the agent system capable, they make it flexible, and they also make it safe for the users of the system. There are 6 components that make up an AI agent, and we will look at each one of them. I will use an analogy to try to explain what each one of them does and how they contribute to the overall functioning of the AI agent. The first component is the model. Think of it like you would think of the brain. It is the core intelligence of the agent. It's usually any of the large language models or any other AI model that can handle complex reasoning. The more powerful the model, the more complex reasoning it can handle. So some models are better at quicker responses, some are better at deep reasoning. So the type of model you would use for your project depends on the job at hand. So knowing the capability of each model would help you determine what model to use for your project. The next component is called tools. Think of the tools like you would think of the eyes, and think of them as the eyes and the hands of the AI agent. Tools give the agents the ability to interact with the world outside of its own brain. LLMs are pretty good at predicting text, but beyond that, they can't do much more than that. When you give them tools, you give them the ability to do things like making API calls, running code, browsing the web, using third-party software on your behalf. If the model is the brain, the tools are, the hands and eyes of the agent, that it gives it the ability to act and to fetch information from the outside world. For example, you can have an agent that has a web search tool or ability. You can also have an agent that has a calculator to solve math problems. You can also have an agent, or you can give an agent access to your email or calendar to help with email scheduling or scheduling of meetings. There's so many ways and so many things you can outfit your agents with. The third component is knowledge and memory. This is the knowledge base of the agent. This component is about what the agent typically knows and what it remembers beyond the immediate task that it is doing. Even though AI models have a lot of inbuilt knowledge from training, they may not remember specifics or not know specifics about your business. So knowledge components are things like database or documents that you give the agent, things like company policies, manuals, product info, etc. Basically, these are static body of knowledge that the agent can always refer to with regards to your business. Memory, it typically means the agent's ability to remember context from past interactions, or its ability to store information that it has gathered. Think of memory like its long-term memory. For example, an agent that has been helping you out for weeks has persistent memory that allows it to carry on from where you had stopped, not without going back to go and repeat the same research that it did yesterday. So with knowledge and memory, the agent can augment itself with external knowledge and past events. Think of it like the agent's reference library and its notepad. The next component is called audio and speech. So let's think of it like the ears and the voice of the agent. Truthfully, not all agents would require this, but a lot of them do. And when you need your agent to be able to interact with customers in a human-like fashion, you can give it a voice and you can give it the ability to hear. The next component is called guardrails. This component is one component of AI agents that is usually overlooked, but is very important in your AI agent. Guardrails are like your rules and safety nets that you provide your AI agents. We know that AI has the ability or has the tendency to hallucinate, to produce harmful or inappropriate content. Guardrails are the measures that you put in place to prevent your agent from going off the rail. Guardrails are absolutely critical, especially when your agents are going to act with or operate with some form of autonomy. You ought to have guardrails in place. You can put guardrails such as content filters to prevent the agent from producing harmful or inappropriate content, or you can use things like constraints on actions, things like preventing the agent from deleting files, or specifically saying do not spend money except explicitly allowed to. So in simpler terms, guardrails are the rules and the guidelines that you give your agent to keep it in check, to avoid it going off the rail, doing things that or producing unexpected or unpleasant outcomes. Finally, last but not least, is orchestration. Think of it as it being the coordinator. Orchestration is about managing the workflow of one or more agents. If you have an agent or a single agent system that carries out multiple step tasks, the orchestration component of the agent system ensures that every step is carried out accordingly and that the agent's state or memory passes along its state to the next step. A more complex multi-agent system, orchestration can involve multiple sub-agents working together and an orchestration agent that oversees the whole process. You can think of it like a project manager or a project coordinator that ensures that every agent gets what they are supposed to do. So now you know what are the components of an AI agent. In summary, an AI agent is made up of different components. It's not just one monolithic entity or thing. It is a collection of these components. The model, which is like the brain of the agent, then you have the ability to give it tools that lets it interact with the world around it. It needs memory and knowledge for context and long-term memory. You can give it a voice or audio, not necessary, but if you need it to be able to speak and to hear, you have the ability to do that. Then you have guardrails to give it boundaries to ensure it doesn't go out of the rules that you have set for it. And finally, the orchestration is what now ties everything together, ensuring that every single component of the agent is working as it should. Great. Now we understand what AI agents are and what makes up an AI agent. Let us just quickly look into the classification of these AI agents. So there are so many different types of AI agents. Agents can work solo or they can work in groups. But essentially, when you're going to classify them, we classify them into two major groups. So you have what you call the single agent systems and the multi-agent system. Now, as the name implies, the single agent system is an AI agent system that is comprised of just one agent that carries out its task in a sequence of order to achieve its goal. So essentially what it does is that if it takes on a task or when it takes on a task, it carries out its task in steps until it accomplishes its goal. But what is important to note is that it's just one agent that is doing all the work from start to finish. On the other hand, you have a multi-agent system. Now, you may have a situation where you have a more complex problem or a larger scale problem that a single agent system on its own will not be able to accomplish. Now, this is where a multi-agent system shines. So a multi-agent system comprises of two or more agents in the system that handle the task in the system simultaneously, meaning that they are all doing their own tasks. They're usually very, very specialized. So each agent in the group is specialized to a specific task, and they all carry out their task in a simultaneous order or in parallel to one another. So the important thing to note or the important thing to look out for when you're working with agents, and especially when it comes to the classification or type of agent that you want to use, is just understanding the trade-off between the single agent system and the multi-agent system. There are certain things you should consider, and personally, I won't say one is better than the other. I would say it depends on the context or the type of problem that you are using the agent for. Now, for a single agent system, some of the benefits is that it's a simple system. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's not complex, it doesn't have any issues with communication. It is a very coherent system. So, and usually if you run into issues, it's easier to debug these systems and figure out where your problems are coming from. On the other hand, you have the multi-agent system. The multi-agent system is a system that is very beneficial when you have more complex problems. They are faster in terms of delivery. So if you had a complex problem that you give to a single agent, it will take it a longer time to accomplish it because it does everything in sequence, unlike the multi-agent system that does everything simultaneously. So it's faster. and they're usually more specialized. So all the agents within the system are specialized to a specific task. So they could be very specific in what they do. But the con of the multi-agent system is usually in communication and coherence. So it's just the same thing as you would have in an environment where you have a lot of people who are working together. They usually would need to figure out how to communicate with one another effectively. So that's usually some of the cons of the multi-agent system. The multi-agent system can also be more expensive in the long run when you look at it, because these are different agents and they're consuming tokens individually. So at the end of the day, you may have more costs in when working with a multi-agent system. Then when it comes to troubleshooting or figuring out where your problems are coming from, the multi-agent system could be a bit trickier because you have several agents working at the same time. One of your agents may decide to just go rogue on you, and you need to figure out where your problems are. Unlike the simple system where you know it's one agent and you know where your problem is coming from and you can figure out how to fix it. It's a multi-agent system. Is a bit more trickier than that. So there are several other pros and cons, but I am highlighting these so that when you are deciding on what type of agents that you want to utilize, it's easier for you to know which agent suits the task that is ahead of you. AI agents are transforming the way we work. They differ from traditional AI chatbots by being active and goal-driven helpers that actually get the work done for you instead of just telling you what to do. We've seen what they are, how they work, and how folks like you are using AI agents to automate their day-to-day tasks. Now, I encourage you to take action. Think of one repetitive task in your everyday work life and figure out how you would want to use AI agents to help you automate that process. In our next episode, I'm going to make this more tangible. I'm going to be showing you how to build your first AI agent using N8N, a no-code friendly automation platform. We will walk through creating a workflow so that you would see how an agent functions step by step, and also customize it to suit your needs. Don't be shy to drop a comment. Let me know what task you would like AI to take over. I'm very interested to hear what your ideas are.